record.
I love this.
Must be a new feature.
It comes up with a thing on my end where I have to press got it to agree to it being recorded.
That's fair enough, I guess, because it's so easy to record that. I think it's probably quite a useful feature, that, so everyone knows what's going on. Fair play.
Yeah, everyone's got to buy in, I guess.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. All right, let's go. Hello, welcome to episode 418 of the Self-Help Podcast. This meeting is being recorded with me, Ed Lamb, and my good pal, Sean. You right, Sean?
Yeah, I'm good. I like the fact that the machine now tells me it's being recorded and I have to agree to being recorded.
Yeah, it's quite good, actually, because, I mean, we've been doing, well, it's the horse is bolted because, I mean, Zoom's been the go-to media for a year or so now, and it is very easy to record a conversation probably without the other person knowing, so they've obviously
not any longer.
This little feature that alerts you to the fact that it's being recorded. But are you all right with us recording this, Sean? And
I suppose so. I didn't do my makeup though. There's some makeup and hair.
I think for those watching on YouTube, we post these to YouTube as well, the videos. So I think I've got the setting on where Zoom kind of flattens my complexion a little bit, make me look a little bit younger. It's not helped too much.
I must have one that makes me look older, do you think?
I won't go on too much about it, but I can just see it's like I'm wearing makeup or something. Where is it? Video. Yeah, touch up my appearance. All right, hang on. I'm going to turn it off. Oh, yeah, see that? Watch. So
you do have people looking very weird, don't they? On this whole
that's
thing.
Ed with
freckles.
We will get around to the episode. That's Ed with freckles, and this is Ed without freckles. Ready, go. See that?
Isn't that weird?
Strange. Why? What have they got against freckles? I'm going to leave it off, man. Yeah. Jeez. We're talking about safe places today, and a safe place for people to chill out, whether it be in a physical place that you go to, or a place in your mind, or maybe somewhere you go and you put some headphones on and you listen to a podcast or two. Who knows? We'll come on to that shortly. liveinthepresent.co.uk for all the show notes and links, as ever, and previous episodes. I've got the door open behind me, so you might be able to hear the birds tweeting and like nature blooming into life. So that's how we do it around here. How are you doing, Sean?
Yeah, I'm good. I do have problems with birds, though. There's a bird, which I assume is a blackbird, that appears on my roof at about 4 o'clock in the morning and seems to imitate a car alarm. It's like mimicking. And it goes on and on and on and on. And I wake up every morning and it's like, oh, hi. And I'm having to learn to kind of fade it out so I can just get back to sleep for a bit.
Okay. Well, I guess your home should be a safe space, and I guess you have to kind of, well, maybe we can come on to that in a bit, where some little tips and tricks to, when we go to our caravan in Northumberland, which we did last week, and I'll talk more about that. We get in the morning, we get birds trotting along the roof of the caravan.
So is yours the kind of caravan that if it rains, it's really loud inside the caravan?
Even really like, I love that sound of really light rain on a caravan roof. I love all that stuff. We'll go on to that in a bit. We'll go on to it right now, because what's triggered this one, Sean? Because we're talking about safe space and how it can obviously be a massive benefit to your mental and physical health.
It carries on from what we've been doing over the last few podcasts, really, because people are trying to get back into work. People are feeling anxious and all that kind of stuff, anxious about working, anxious about COVID. It's like, what techniques can I use to kind of bring my system down? So what we know is that when you're stressed or you're anxious, that your body's flooded with stress hormone. And what we need to do is find ways of being able to turn down the volume on the stress hormone, and being able to create a safe place is a good thing to do. So you know that if you go to the caravan, you can create a safe place. So you can go there and you're fine. Yeah. Now, I've got places like that, but I'd have to drive to Italy maybe to get to my real kind of safe place. So it's like, are there ways that I can get to a safe place like that without having to go to travel? And the benefits of being able to create a safe place in your mind are the massive reduction in stress hormones that has huge health benefits. That's the issue. And I see lots of people that are, in fact, I was working with a guy this morning who is a herbal doctor, in effect. We were talking about stress symptoms and we were working out different medication regimes and stuff. But the amount of people who are, their systems get inundated with the toxins that come from the stress hormones in the body, and the way that the system starts to shut down. And it's huge, absolutely huge, right through to strokes and heart attacks and blood pressure and everything else. And I'm seeing lots of people that are like this. And I'm saying, you know, you need to meditate and stuff like that. And then they do an ed on me and say, oh, I can't meditate. So it's like creating a safe place in a way is an alternative to meditation. It has kind of meditation kind of qualities in it, but it's a lot of kind of visualized stuff. And it's a weird thing. Once you know where your safe place is and you can visualize it, you can actually just close your eyes and go there, which is weird. You know?
Yeah. So we just before we came on, you kind of described your routine and quite vividly, actually. So assuming you can't get to, you're not on your way to Italy. How do you quickly get to your safe place?
Well, what happened years ago when I first got into this, and I'm talking about a long time ago, people were going down on beaches, and that's one of the resources I'm putting up here today. So, and creating a beach in your mind, because a beach is a nice open space to go to. What I found was when I was on the beach, it was a bit too open. I was a bit, not feeling as relaxed as I wanted to. So I created the garden. When I first created it, it had stone walls that were, a couple of feet thick and about 4 feet high. And there was a gate to get in and stuff like that. And it was my garden with the plants laid out, and there was a little pond and stuff like that. And over the years, it's changed. So now the walls are about 6 foot thick. They're about 14 feet high, and they have slate roofs on them, like a pitch roof going all the way around. And they're those red curvy towers like you get in Spain and places like that. The trees have become absolutely enormous, and the pond's got bigger, and there's a waterfall on it. And I go and sit in my meditation chair beside the water, listen to the water. And I had a little boy that died, which we don't need to get into, but he's always playing under the trees in the corner and talks to me sometimes. So when I need to, I close my eyes. I go down a path in Parkhurst Forest on the Isle of Wight. It was when I used to work in the prison on the Isle of Wight. And I go down this path through the forest and get to this corner, and there's these massive walls with this huge double oak door that opens automatically to let me in. And as I go in, it closes behind me. And the thing is that with those high walls and the trees, the sound is it's weird. It's like so silent. You could cut it in slices. It's weird when you're in there. It's amazing. And when I go in there, I just like, and then I can go and sit down by the water and just kind of be, I might just sit there and enjoy the birds and the water and stuff, or I might actually be meditating. Or if I've had a kind of a difficult time, there's a technique called a rewind technique. Maybe we need to get into one time, but it's like, it's a way of kind of desensitizing like risen emotion inside you that you need to turn down, when you're feeling but it's such it's a weird thing, because when you talk about it, it sounds a bit kind of weird, but when you experience it, it's completely different. It's like, wow, it's quite strange. But
so
the key is it turns off the stress hormone. That's the key.
Yeah. So is it having a place like that in your head that you can go to? Is that something you try and teach people that you work with? Is it something that comes easy to people, or do they have something that they can work from straight away, or do you have to kind of help them?
No, you need to build it, which is why we have like the beach recording, because that helps you build your safe place. And one of the things about a safe place is it changes over time. Like mine's changed, and it may be if you're using a beach, you don't go down on the same beach each time. and the water might be different. Sometimes the river, if you're particularly emotionally aroused, the sea might be quite big waves and pounding on the beach. You go down there another time and you're chilled and it's dead flat. Yeah. Or it might be very blue water, or it's reflecting the dark clouds and it's very grey, depending on where you are emotionally. And that's the magic about pictures, is they relate to emotion, whereas thoughts relate to words, emotions relate to pictures. Yeah, it's interesting. Now, I use it a lot if someone's had a post-traumatic shock, or they've been through something which keeps a sort of raising up their levels of anxiety, like the high levels of arousal. So what you do is you create the safe place inside somebody so they know where it is. And you can watch when someone, because I've got them with their eyes closed, and you can see their respiration slows. Yeah, so they're in the safe place and they're really calming down. Stress hormones getting low. Then you take them back to the trauma and you get them to do different things with the trauma, which is part of the desensitization. But you can see the heart rate goes up, the respiration goes up, and then you go back to the safe place, and you do that a few times. And each time you do it, the level of arousal gets less until the person can actually review the traumatic experience and not get aroused by it.
Wow.
Yeah? Which sounds mad. So it's like post-traumatic work we're working with.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we talk loads about my physical safe space, about being a little part of Northumberland, but you've been there, you've visited once, and hopefully you'll be able to come up and join us this summer, actually, once you've got your mobile safe space up and running, or you've taken delivery of it. So yeah, I mean, we were there last week for a week and it was just amazing. I'm just going to share something now for those watching on the YouTube feed. I'm going to share my screen if I can, because it's just a little tech tip that I've got. So can you see this photo now, Sean?
Love it.
This is the village of Almouth, which is just north of where we stay, and this is probably our favorite beach to visit. And the tide's right out at this point, and you can kind of make your way across the estuary. But I took this photo, and maybe it's something that people can do to kind of take their safe space with them, because this is a 3D photograph, which you can zoom around.
Right, yeah.
So this is, I forgot to take a few photos that I missed out. So there's some black. I need to do it properly next time. But potentially you can put 3D goggles on and VR goggles on, and put your phone in and be transported there. So that's we climbed across that hill. We kind of waded across the river and climbed the hill. That's something we have to do. And here's me two little weird boys that look a little bit strange in the photo didn't quite get them properly, but they moved. Anyway, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I am into technology, and so are you. And I've in recent months, in the last year or two, I've become maybe a bit more of a Luddite in terms of not thinking that technology can't solve and won't solve all of our problems, and that too much tech is a bad thing, actually. But I have also experienced virtual reality, quite high-end virtual reality. I think you might have had a go when you were in our office.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah,
so, like the ability for those goggles to take you somewhere else and have, when you've got headset earphones on as well with a bit of music playing, or very powerful stuff. So I do wonder whether technology like that can be a real force for good in terms of meditation and just kind of taking you somewhere.
I think that there is a huge role to be played using those goggles in all kinds of therapeutic processes, because you can actually do things like, let's say someone's phobic about flying. You could sit them down in the consulting room. You both got headphones on, so you can both see what's going on. And you go and get on a plane and you take off. You go through the process. The person can go through the desensitization of their trauma or their anxiety without actually having to go to the airport and get on a plane. That kind of, there's a lot of potential for traumatic work using goggles like that. But I think it'd be a while before people will be able to kind of afford them generally, because it's the high end stuff, isn't it? You can get the low end stuff, which is kind of nice. But if you really want the experience, it's got to be a good set.
Yeah, I think I haven't really been following that much in the last year or two. I think the latest version of the Oculus headset, which is the Facebook-owned company, you don't need to plug it into a big computer anymore, or you don't need a PlayStation to run it. It's just a headset on its own, and I think it's about 250 quid.
No, that's not so bad, is it?
So
And
it's
was
quite
that
powerful.
the one that I was using at your place in the office?
No, so the one my colleague had or still has is called an HTC Vive, which is, I think it is still the kind of market leader, and it's got loads of sensors, but you need to have cameras up in the corner of your room to kind of track where you're moving, and you need to plug it into a powerful PC as well. So
Right.
that, yeah, it's it's out of reach for a lot of people, me included, and it's just too much of a faff to get going.
But that,
But
I mean, that was amazing, because I went onto Google Earth and flew around the Earth, and then flew from Liverpool. I actually went down the Golden Gate Bridge and then flew across to Liverpool, and then came down and stood in the road outside my house, and I could see my wife's car parked outside the house, and I could actually see in through the windows. It was really weird. Very
it's
strange.
amazing once you get the hang of the controls. I guess in a kind of a professional sense, potentially you or people in the therapeutic world could invest in kit like that and have it set up in their consulting room and kind of transport people anywhere in the world, or that's really powerful stuff. So maybe we should think about that and get something set up for when we're allowed to meet up with people. And I think you could you could help a lot of people, and you could probably earn a tidy sum as well for people to come and experience it.
But I suppose if you think about it, and if you had a headset on here, and someone had a headset on remotely, even if they were on the other side of the world, you could actually be sat beside each other in a room, because you've got that 3D effect going on all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch the space on the tech front. I mean,
if you follow that idea, and the fact that you've got a picture on there which relates you to your safe place, people have the things on their screens, on the screensaver bits on either your phone or your iPad or your computer, whatever, and you could have the appropriate photograph that connects you to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my photo on my lock screen is Bethan on the beach, that not far from where I just showed you earlier on. So I mean, yeah, little things like that actually in your life, that your desktop and on your phone, your mobile phone background, they do transport you, don't they? And they kind of we choose them for a reason, really, to kind of remind us of where we want to be, or where where relaxes us. So little things like that can be helpful, can't they?
And the bit of the brain that we're talking about here, that we're trying to do, is called the amygdala in the middle, which is the bit which is to do with fight and flight, freeze responses. But it's connected to a lot of kind of instinctual memory, so that things like colors, sounds, tastes, smells can create an emotional response within us, because they were related positively or negatively to them. And that's where things like scents and perfumes and stuff like that can come in, like the smell of flowers, because it can create good feelings, good pictures, but also the idea of sounds. So it could be a piece of music that can start to create that. So you close your eyes, you've got the music, you close your eyes, you've got the smell. Anything like that starts to make that connection, in the same way that if I'm desensitizing someone's trauma, I'm changing the connection between the images and that emotional response, like the stress response in your system. And in the same way, you're training it the other way. So you're saying, okay, when I see this thing, this color, this sound, this picture, whatever, inside me, I'm going to have this response, because you're now relating it to safety, security, whatever. And those things are immediate, because you can close your eyes and do them. And I can go to my garden in a couple of minutes. I can just close my eyes in the loo somewhere. I've just had some kind of awful traumatic thing to deal with, and my system's buzzing like crazy. I can go and sit in the loo, in the cubicle, and just kind of sit there for a few minutes and just let it come down. And it's life changing. It's like being able to do that transforms what you can do the way that you are. You know?
I'm loath to kind of suggest it as a thing to do, but I was thinking about it, and for a lot of people, I think their car is a safe space that they
Yeah,
use
yeah,
for.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
So again, yeah, I've got a baseball cap with "War on Cars" written on the top, and I'm obviously a sustainable transport campaigner. But part of the thing I've realised as I kind of try and campaign for better ways and healthier ways of getting around, I've realised is that the reason that and I own a car, so the reason I think part of it's such a struggle to get people to switch is because for a lot of the time in sustainable transport, people will point to kind of queues of traffic and congestion as a reason to not drive. But I think psychologically, people actually quite like being stuck in their cars in that traffic, and because it's just at the start and the end of their day, it's just whatever, half an hour of peace and quiet on their own, in quite a good amount of luxury with the radio on, or the music playing, or a podcast, or just nothing. I like when I drive, I tend to have just silence because that's just what I like now. So I think it's quite a safe space for a lot of people, isn't it?
And one of the things that's come out as people have been going back into the workplace is that need that people have to do the transition between work and home, which they've lost in the kind of lockdown, staying at home stuff. And people are saying to me how much they now appreciate the commute, and the fact that if it's a bit more than half an hour, that's really good. I like that because it gives me time to kind of chill out before I get home, so I can leave work at work. Yeah, or if you've got a tough time at home, you're leaving home at home and you're going to work. But it's the transition time.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I miss my commute to the office on my bike because it was just half an hour at either end of the day, just to live in the present, to focus on riding, and just to kind of the fun and games and the relaxation and the occasional bit of stress and intense focus needed. But, generally, it's quite relaxing, and I guess it's the same if you get the train to work. You can get to read your book for 20 minutes, whatever it is, or a bus, that kind of thing. So a safe place can be emotion as well, can't it?
Yeah, I've noticed since my car was written off, so I've been doing car share with Rick, that I've lost my kind of personalized space, which was my vehicle. And when you step in to drive someone else's vehicle, it's theirs, isn't it? So like the seat's not in the right place, and you've got to adjust the mirrors and everything like that, to make it feel like it's more like you drive it, but it's never your space.
Yes, I know. Again,
I've never really appreciated that before this moment, because I've never really been in the car share situation. I've always had a vehicle. And because of having the camper van converted at the moment, it was a case of, okay, we share cars until that's done. But it is weird because it's not your space, someone else's space that you're in. So I do get what you're saying about people in traffic jams might actually be having a good time.
Yeah, I think they are. I think it's not really spoken about. I might get a bit of a Twitter thread going and see if I can. But there was a video on Twitter a couple of weeks ago doing the rounds big time of a guy on a bike, and he was filming his journey. I think he was making his way out of Manchester after a day in work, and he must have sailed past 300 cars, maybe. It was a sped up video, most of which had one person sitting in them. And the point from the cyclist's point of view is that why would you want to sit in that amount of traffic for every day? And I think the unspoken message, which wasn't in the comments, and I didn't really think about it until later on, people quite enjoy just sitting doing nothing for 45 minutes, an hour.
I think the other thing in it is that we talk about car share, but if you got sort of into the habit of going your commute is on your own, so it's you sorting you out, and suddenly you got someone else in the car with you, it's like suddenly it's not your space in the same way. And so if you got four of you in the car, it's probably even less your space. So
Yes.
maybe the value of it diminishes. I guess if you've got 4 people in the car, you might as well be on a bus.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe
yeah, I mean,
that's a good thing.
it is, yeah. So I mean, you know, it's a lot of space you're taking up on the street with if you're on your own in a car. So maybe we should just part of the focus, I think, is on getting really small cars if you're just using it for a commute, as small as you possibly can. A 1-seater, even, you know, that's a little micro electric 1-seater. But yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
do you remember those bikes that I was looking at that were like, they were actually a tandem bike? They had doors on the side and they were gyroscopic, so they stood out on 2 wheels. They were amazing, and I haven't seen them go to production. It was called a C1. No. And I was always thinking, if they take those to production, I'll get one of those. Because you can just zip in and out of things. It takes up half the space on the road anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and it's electric. And, you know.
Cool. So yeah, so if people are listening to this thinking, oh, I haven't got a safe space like locally or one that I can get to within seconds or minutes, either at work or at home, where do they start? How do they start kind of creating one?
I think the easiest thing is to go to the resources here and download the Beach app, which is our version of creating a safe place, and that uses obviously a beach. But there are lots of things online like that, and the magic is it's a visualized process, because if you can visualize, if you can see it, you can feel it. That's the thing, and it's something which is nothing to do with words, which is why smell, sounds, and tastes, colours have an immediate effect on your system, without you even being cognitively aware of why, just having the effect. So if you can create that sense of safe place in terms of visual imagery, it could be a forest, it could be a lake, you know, wherever. You know, I know people that do like scuba diving, and their safe place is to be under the water, to be down, because they say to me, when you go under the water, the sound changes, it's quiet, you know, it's completely different. And that's why they do it, because they go down and they can be somewhere and the fish are swimming around and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have done scuba diving once when I was about 16 on a holiday in Mallorca. It was incredible. Like really, really incredible. And then last year, no, sorry, not last year, 2 or 3 years ago now, we had a family holiday, our first proper family holiday, as they call them, to Mallorca. And we didn't go scuba diving, but we did do a lot of snorkeling, me and Will. And we dived down. He couldn't swim that well yet, so I would have to kind of like grab his arm and we dive down together with our goggles on.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just that underwater world is absolutely incredible. Like, so that's one of the my most famous, like most precious memories, really, of going out snorkeling with him every day from the hotel. Amazing.
I did my sub-aqua training when I lived on the Isle of Wight. Yeah, which was it was lovely to do it. The problem is that the Solent and the sea around the Isle of Wight is like swimming through pea soup. So you don't get lovely views. You know what I mean? It's very disturbed water by the rivers coming in and the boats going to and fro. You know, so everything is churned up and disturbed. But I need to go somewhere where, you know, I don't know, the Red Sea, is it somewhere like that, where it's dead clear and full of fish, and you can go there. Fascinating.
Yeah, incredible. All right, so your resource then, Sean, the beach, is it?
Yeah, the beach. If people go onto the Live in the Present site and do go to the toolkit, it's in there, isn't it? The mindfulness toolkit. So that, I mean, and to me, I've seen it happen where people start using the beach or something like it, and then other people are saying to them, "Are you taking drugs or something? What's the matter? You're so calm." And it's like suddenly people find that the things that were making them uptight, not making them uptight anymore, because they've now relate to this. That's chill. Yeah, and that's the effect that it has. It takes about 20 minutes a day. That's the best way to do it. And you usually find that within 30 days, your world's changed.
Wow.
Levels of stress will come down. Yeah.
Cool. All right, brilliant. I'll link to that. And I'm going to link to a kid's book that we've got on our shelf called 5 Minutes Peace. It's like a family of elephants, and the mum they live in a normal house for some reason, but the mum is just desperate for 5 minutes peace from the kids, and she's trying to find her safe space where she can just relax for 5 minutes in the day.
Right.
And yeah, I won't. Well, spoiler alert. Yeah, she gets in the bath at the end and thinks she's finally kind of won it, and then the kids come in and jump all over her and have a party in there, whatever. Nice little kid story, but yeah, it's a good little message in there as well.
Yeah, even elephants need some space.
Indeed. Yeah. All right, cool. Sean, back for more next week. Until then, you take
Yeah.
care, eh?
Yeah, keep smiling. You take care.
I will. You too. See you, everyone.
See ya.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.